But you're a new head coach. Tell me about a Scott Shafer-led team. What's that going to look like?
Oh boy, I think more than put my name on it, it'll be a Syracuse team, from a town that's, a tough town, a hard-nosed town, a town that, appreciates hard work and great effort. And that's what we want to be. We want our fans to be able to look out on the field and say, that's a physical team that plays as hard as they can for as long as they can, and they really don't worry about anything but playing one play at a time. And that's what we want to be. And I know it sounds simple, but it's the truth. We want to be an outfit that's fun to watch because we're physical. I want to be able to look across the field and know that they respect our kids for the way they play the game with the pads on, using the pads and wearing a helmet for the right reasons. And that's what we want to be. And hopefully we have some kids that, can make some plays down the field every now and again too.
I know some Syracuse press came down, so we'll get going with that right away.
Dan Tortora, DTV Media. How you doing, Coach?
Good, Dan. How about you?
Good. First and foremost, looking at recruiting, the staff that you brought on and what you've done, how successful do you feel you have been with that, and how has the school responded to having you jump up from defensive coordinator to head coach?
Yeah, well, the recruiting side of it, you really never know until 4 or 5 years down the road. That's the real answer. Everybody knows, and I think people can get excited about recruits early and stuff, but it's really at the end of the line that I'm most concerned about. I like all the kids that we've recruited, and I can't speak on who they are, where they are, that sort of thing. But we're never going to be at the front of the pack. We're never going to be the top-rated recruiting class, and Syracuse never has with the great players that we've had. I asked the question earlier to another group. If you look back and you say, who was the last 5-star recruit Syracuse signed in football, the room would be silent, like it is right now. But if I said to you, who was the last great player to play at Syracuse that you really liked, you'd go around the room and you'd hear people chirping. Donovan McNabb, Dwight Freeman, Chandler Jones, Arthur Jones, Rob Moore back in the day. Hell, Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, way before our time. So we have great tradition. And the thing that we want to make sure we do is that we always understand who we are, embrace it, and not apologize for who we are. Because once you know the formula, you know how to work the formula. We want to get back to working that formula that's worked in the past. Recruiting kids that have a chip on their shoulder that are underrated, that you need to develop. Kids that want to play at Syracuse and don't apologize for wanting to play at Syracuse and wear this helmet. So that's what we're looking for. And does it help when you get a kid committed that's highly touted? Yes. But where is he in 4 to 5 years? I want the no-name kid that nobody knew his name at the beginning to be the kid that we're talking about 4 and 5 years from now, like so many of the names I just mentioned. Daryl Johnson's a great example. I knew him because he was such a great fullback at Syracuse. And I didn't realize he wasn't a highly touted recruit. I met him for the first time a few weeks ago, and he told me his story. And it just fired me up even more. He was a no-name. He's a kid from Youngstown. He said Youngstown. I'm thinking, oh, Ohio, right? He goes, no, Youngstown, New York. I didn't even know it existed. Here's a kid that had one scholarship offer and comes to Syracuse, goes to the NFL, and they change the way the ballot was so they could actually vote for a fullback for the Pro Bowl because of Daryl Johnson, the kid that had one scholarship offer out of New York and played at Syracuse. So that's what I want us to embrace and not apologize for it. So that's a long-winded answer, but very passionate about it. So I don't remember the second part of your question.
It was just about how everyone's responded as far as on the team, the veterans that saw you rise up from defensive coordinator.
Yeah, the kids have been great. We have great kids at Syracuse. We have kids that go to class and do things right. We're going to have kids slip up, but few and far between compared to so many other schools I've been at. They've been great. I love them to death, and I can't wait to get started. I miss them. I haven't been able to coach them up, and won't be able to until we get to August 5th. But looking forward to getting back there on the field and seeing the whites of their eyes on that field.
Hey, Coach, Mark Larson, line at Syracuse. Good to see you down here.
Mark.
Picking up a little skin color, looks like. It's good.
Yeah.
Suntan.
Syracuse, it's sunny in Syracuse this time of year.
It is. That's right. Always sunny in Syracuse. How much are you picking up down here? You never know when you're going to pick something up, verbally, visually, just from interacting with your fellow coaches down here. How much are you picking up about the ACC, kind of the feel for it and what you can expect?
Well, the biggest thing I've noticed, for me, I've been everywhere in this profession, from coast to coast and everywhere in between. So it's really interesting to me to meet the different people, the different backgrounds they come from, the different cultures of the South now, you know, that we're getting a feel for. And it's been great, you know. A lot of good ball coaches in this conference. A lot of guys passionate about where the ACC is and where we want it to be. You know, at our conference about a month and a half ago, Coach Sweeney was talking about, you know, hey, we need to really take this conference to where we go head to head with the SEC. And he's right. You only live once, man. SEC's, yeah, greatest conference ever. Yeah, right now they are. But, you know, the demographics show that we're in the same pool as they are, both for recruiting and competing on the field. And we're seeing the population base move from a lot of people in the Midwest moving from the old steel cities and factories coming east and southeast. And what a great time for Syracuse to jump into the conference. And those are the things that we as coaches have talked about, you know, and I sit there and don't say a whole lot right now because I'm a new guy on the block. And I'm overwhelmed. I look over at Coach Beamer, I'm intimidated, you know what I mean? I mean, this is a guy I idolized, and I still do to this day, obviously. So I'm just trying to be, you know, the guy that's learned from them, but in the same breath, I also am extremely anxious to take our tradition for what Syracuse is, and add our tradition to those traditions in this conference and go compete our ass off. And, you know, to me, that's what it's all about, and our kids are fired up to do so.
Coach Bob Halliday from Raleigh, welcome to the league.
Coach, how you doing? You look like a ball coach.
I said.
Did you ever coach?
No, I'm sorry. I ran my words together. I'm Bob Halliday. I said, hello, Coach.
Hey, Bob, how are you? Hey, Coach Halliday.
He's at NC State, pitching coach. Anyway, Syracuse ran 165 more plays than its opponents last year. No other team in this league can say that. And I assume it has something to do with philosophy of the defensive side of the ball. As a way of introducing Syracuse football to ACC fans, could you talk about that disparity and how it kind of embodies the way you play football?
Well, yeah, I think for us, it's every season's going to be different. And I think, you know, my dad taught me at a young age that football's cyclical, and there's going to be changes, and there's going to be what's in vogue now. You know, and right now we know it's a spread offense that's up-tempo. The kids want to play in that offense, so all of us are stealing ideas from each other and tying it together. So I like a lot of the things that we've done in the past, and we'll continue to do those. But at the end of the day, it's still about blocking and tackling and being physical, in my opinion. At the end of the day, the teams that do a better job tackling and getting off blocks are the teams that win more than lose, teams that take care of the football. So to be in vogue is fun and all that, and it's important in the recruiting elements, but really at the end of the day, we're going to do what we have to do with the people we have and find ways to win games. I do like the approach we took last year. I liked what Nathaniel Hackett did with our offense, and we'll stay true to a lot of those concepts. But I'm excited about the things that George McDonald brings to the table as our offensive coordinator. You know, he was at Miami, but he's been waiting his whole life to be a coordinator, and his opportunity is here, and he'll do a great job with it. And I had a lot of fun watching what he was doing with our offense this spring, and look forward to watching more here as we get going.
Hello, Coach. Alex Dodd here from Dodd Sports Network, Greenville, South Carolina. And tell us a little bit about the Syracuse tradition and what it means playing in the Carrier Dome, because where I'm from, a lot of Clemson fans, they've never even heard of Syracuse or seen Syracuse on TV.
Yeah.
Talk about that, Coach.
Okay. Well, you look like a younger guy, so I'm going to go way back.
You ask tough questions, though. So.
I like that. My son asked me the toughest questions, too, so does my daughter. So the tradition of Syracuse, there's a lot of it. If you get a chance, research it. There's a guy named Jim Brown that played football at Syracuse that kind of led the plight, in my opinion, in college football and the NCAA college football for the plight of the African-American athlete. He's a guy that was the greatest player to play the game, arguably, at the tailback position, that didn't win the Heisman at a time where people weren't winning things that should have won things because of the color of their skin. And he made sure that it didn't happen again when he left. A couple years later, a guy named Ernie Davis won it. First black Heisman Trophy winner from Syracuse. In my eyes, that's where it starts, our tradition. And it goes way before that. They were playing great football before those two guys, but to me, that's something that, you know, no other school in the country can boast. And I think it was It was at a time where, you know, people were really struggling to get through the racial strife of where our country was, as sad as it is to say. But I'm proud to represent the university that broke through those lines at this point in time. I obviously never had a chance to meet Ernie Davis, and I haven't met Jim Brown yet. I can't wait till the day I can shake his hand. But our tradition goes far and beyond those things as well. Our tradition is such that you take a lot of kids from the Northeast, but a lot of kids from all over the country as well that have played in our university. They put this big old dome up right up on our campus. It's right up on the top of the hill there, and it's a place that's not easy to play in. I had just left Michigan to come here and played in a stadium that had 110,000 people, and couldn't believe on third down how much louder it was in the Carrier Dome. A difficult place to play, but more importantly, you know, a program that values its kids going to class and getting a degree, a quality degree from a difficult institution in the country. So that's what we are. That's what our tradition is. The tradition that I spoke of earlier in the recruiting process. You know, developing kids that weren't